क्रांति क्रांति में कुछ नहीं रखा है विनायक। अंग्रेज बहुत बड़े हैं, मुझे तेरी बहुत चिंता होती है।
तू हमेशा कहता है ना, हम तीन भाई मिलकर भारत माता को आजादी दिलाएंगे।
When the first look of Swatantrya Veer Savarkar came out, I was spontaneously pretty happy seeing Randeep Hooda don the role of the political activist who has a very polarized perception among the Indians who are politically aware. Polarized because there is a section of people in India who find him to be a central figure in the development of the political ideology of Hindutva and someone very relevant to the freedom struggle of India. Whereas there is another section of people who attribute him to being coward for writing multiple mercy petitions to the British government for his release from the cellular jail of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And considering his ideology of Hindutva and support for the Hindu Rashtra offensive to the idea of the India that they have. So, in order to play a character with such polarized opinions, it was a bare minimum to have an actor who was himself supposed to have a very strong persona and was also willing to give everything for this role. And having seen Randeep Hooda's level of dedication in some of his movies like Sarabjit, Highway, and Jism 2, all of which also translated to a performance of very high order, I personally was very optimistic for this movie. However, to be honest, as a neutral audience for the world of cinema, I also thought to myself if this was just an opportunistic attempt to leverage the current nationalist right wing sentiment that is driving the nation and just use this as a trigger for getting audiences to watch a mediocre movie. But when I watched the trailer of Swatantrya Veer Savarkar, I was surprised, one, to know that Randeep Hooda had written and is directing this movie. And two, from the edited trailer, the movie looked really a good piece of craft to be it from a technical point of view or the actors who were casted. However, when I came to know that it was Mahesh Manjrekar who was originally supposed to direct the movie but later was taken over by Randeep Hooda due to creative differences, I wanted to just not have any prejudice for the movie and just wanted to go and watch it without any expectations or any bias in my mind. So let's start by discussing the movie that is Swatantra Veer Savarkar. Just before the film starts, you are given a disclaimer that we have been told that non-violence is what brought this country independence. But this is not that movie. A statement like this sets a perspective for you to watch the movie. The movie majorly captures the key parts of the life of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar from his time in the childhood with his family, especially the elder brother, then getting married to Ankita Lokhande's character Yamuna, and then foraying into political movements, marking his relevance with the freedom fights and also his imprisonment behind the cells of Kalapani prisons. But across all of these events, the screenplay put forwards a narrative very strongly, solely from the point of view of the lead character, and you see most of the historical events like the partition of India, ideologies formed by Savarkar, other key characters like Mahatma Gandhi, Congress Party from the lens of Savarkar, which I don't really say is a bad way of telling a story as long as you don't overdo this. But if you do, then it becomes very obvious that the movie you are making is consumed by a certain bias, which is reflecting in the final product served. However, that is completely not the case with this movie, though there are some moments which does leave a small cringe in your belly as some remarks and moments could have been so neutral if someone were to tell the story unbiasedly. So, let's start with the things that I liked about the movie. Number 1, Randeep Hooda the actor. Every time I get to see a movie starring Randeep Hooda, I get to see an actor who gives his 100% from not just the physical transformation but also from mannerism, expressing the emotions and small minute details that he can reflect through a character. This is true even in the case of Randeep Hooda playing the role of Veer Savarkar in this movie. Every time an actor is playing the role of a real life character, it becomes very challenging for them to find the fine line between not being very gimmicky and also not being a very far fetched version of that character that you are not able to associate with. From gimmicky, you can always go back and recall Anupam Kher's lazy performance as Dr. Manmohan Singh in The Accidental Prime Minister. The performance relied solely on the exact mannerism of the former Prime Minister that it only looked caricaturish rather than a genuine character portrayal. However, when you see Randeep Hooda as Veer Savarkar embracing all life stages of the character, from his early days to someone who just entered political movements, forming strongholds for an independent political ideology, for a version of the country that he is very determined to someone in their very late life stage as a victim of the colonial system. Randeep Hooda excels in all the versions of the character that he portrays. Another dimension of the movie where Randeep Hooda shines is as a debut director. It's surprising to see the production design, camera work, the editing in most of the parts, though not all, just falls in place well for someone new like him wearing the director's hat. He does this in a way more superior terms than some full time directors who have consistently let us down. Another aspect where the movie works really well are the dynamics that the few characters have with the central character, especially the elder brother played by Amit Sial. The screenplay takes enough time to flesh out the emotion between the relationship of the two brothers. Ankita Lokhande as Veer Savarkar's wife does a decent job but has a very limited involvement in the plot. Now, let us talk about the things that did not work out for me in the movie. Number one, the length. With almost 3 hours of runtime, the movie feels like a drag at many points. This could have been easily shorter by 20-25 minutes and made a movie with a way more tighter screenplay. Another major flaw the movie carries with itself is that it is so consumed by the idea of showing Veer Savarkar's perspective of the movie and his version is the only truth that it forgets being shown the neutral point of view. Every character or event that is not supportive of the lead character could reflect as evil. Imagine the movie Social Network with Mark Zuckerberg being portrayed as a great friend to Eduardo Severin or an ideal boyfriend to Erica Albright, which he was definitely not. But you were shown his vulnerable and flawed side to accept him as a more real character. This is where Veer Savarkar terribly misses to reach the checkpoint. While I did not had very high hopes from the movie and mostly went to watch it with no bias, it's a movie that I enjoyed for some moments to learn things about the character that I did not knew. While there were things I consciously realized I could ignore and definitely could have been ignored from the plot too. So, is Savarkar a bad attempt to make a movie just to mint money of the current nationalist sentiment? Well, no. But it definitely could have been superior with a shorter length, a crisper screenplay, and if there was someone to guide them to make a marginally more neutral movie. So, this was my opinion of the movie Swatantrya Veer Savarkar. Do press the like button if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel for more such content.